Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Board Gaming Doctor. My name is Phil, and I'll be your Board Game Doctor today. In this video, this is going to be another flashback podcast to about 2 years ago, over 2 years ago now, when I had first played a prototype version of a game that is now on GameFound for Kickstarter, and that game is called Royal Hospital. It is a game where you have a large deck of cards and you are tableau building, collecting different types of cards to ultimately build an engine, convert resources in order to save patients, and increase the prestige of your own hospital. I make a lot of comparisons to games that might sound familiar mechanically to that description, such as Ark Nova, and those were kind of the vibes that I had got when I had played this game. Now, I haven't played the game since. The game was originally, if I remember correctly, slated for Kickstarter back then in 2022. However, some things behind the scenes didn't fall through, I imagine, and it's taken until now for the game to be officially re-released, or released for the first time, I should say, for Kickstarter. At the time of this recording, I think the game has funded fully, so that is super exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this game does and how well it is received. Spoiler, I enjoyed this game, and you'll listen to why as my former self talks about this game along with Jacob. This is one of the podcasts that I had done with Jacob a couple of years ago. So enjoy this blast from the past that has now become relevant in today's time. So here are my thoughts on Royal Hospital.
I do want to talk about another latest hot. Well, it's so hot, Jacob. It's so hot that it doesn't even have a release year on Board Game Geek.
Whoa.
This game is called Royal Hospital. So Jacob, you know Ark Nova.
Yes.
You've heard about Terraforming Mars. You've heard about like these games that have a lot of individualized cards and some sort of tableau building or what have you, but basically utilizing a huge deck of like 200 plus cards. So Royal Hospital is a game that does so with a hospital-based theme.
Ayo, that's your wheelhouse.
Ayo, hey, exactly. So I'm always intrigued. And I do want to, later on in the podcast, I do want to share my thoughts on, games that utilize a theme that I see every day. But I will leave I'll leave more of my thoughts on a written version on Royal Hospital on Board Game Geek. But just to summarize my first impressions, I did get to play this twice. I'm grateful for the designer who I reached out on Board Game Geek and said, hey, is there a TTS model or mod available? And he was like, no, but let me work on that. And then he did it in a couple of weeks.
Wow, there you go.
And so I got to play it, and I'm very grateful that I got to. So for me, this game is a solid 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed the simplicity of the rule set, even though some of these games, you think Terraforming Mars and Ark Nova, they can be rules heavy or something like that. Out of those these three games, I think Royal Hospital is very straightforward. You're drawing cards, you get to play them by spending resources, and you're balancing increasing your engine to get these resources in order to convert them into points through various methods. But in addition, you have to treat your patients like you would in any hospital-themed game. And you do so by spending certain resources and then flipping them over and then trying to have enough resources to treat them in a timely manner. Some of them, patients are more critical, and so you need to have the resources at hand. You have a whole round to do so before they die and you lose your quality of care. And so I enjoyed the tension of the, balancing having enough resources to take care of my patients, in addition to increasing production, playing some cool cards that have some end game bonuses, and getting a lot of points that way. I have only played this solo as well, but it seems like it's pretty snappy with each action. You're only taking one action, and turns can go pretty fast, I think. It mitigates the card draw in a good way, which obviously with a game with a lot of cards, it can be very luck driven on what you have available at certain times. But the way that it recycles cards every round is pretty neat, and so it offers a fresh market every time you begin a new round. However, I feel like the cards themselves were, I don't know. At the end of the day, I still prefer Arc Nova, I think, because the tableau building of Arc Nova is just so unique. Well, I shouldn't say unique, but the puzzle that I get, and trying to solve that every time is really juicy, and the combos that you can get from it are fantastic. You can kind of just build up until you have a monster turn where you're getting all of these resources. Very similar to Agricola, but in Royal Hospital is kind of a steady pace throughout the game, without any of these ebbs and flows where you're building up to a big turn. Maybe healing a lot of patients at the same time was really good. But I felt like in the two plays that I had, I wasn't really able to. I couldn't like specialize, which you do in medicine. Unfortunately, I felt like the strategy to win this game is very similar each time, and it kind of does depend on the luck of the draw. If you do get certain cards to help bump you up in certain ways, but that is very premature. It's only two plays in. It's not even released yet for Kickstarter or anything. So I will leave more thoughts on my review in Board Game Geek. But yeah, I think they've got a really solid idea here, and of course with a good theme to match. And I'm excited to see what comes of the Royal Hospital and see it catch fire. So yeah, that was my experience with that.
There you go. That sounds super cool. And yeah, especially if it's coming on the coattails of Terraforming Mars and Arc Nova, by association, that's got to help it some, for sure.
Hey, I'm a sucker for those types of games, and a lot of people are too. So, might as well keep them coming.
Yeah, there you go. Bring them in.
Yeah.